It's a good bet that consumers have more $10 bills in their wallet or purse than they do $2 bills, unless they're carrying 2s with them for good luck. You might think there are far more 10s in circulation than 2s, but I've got a surprising stat for you that I'll reveal at the end of this video. For now, let's look at some of the ways that the $2 and $10 bills compare. Both of the bills' origins date all the way back to 1862, with the first instance of federally issued currency after the Civil War. You can see the basic similarities in the bill's design, including the red serial numbers and complex patterns that comprise what's known as their greenbacks. Interestingly, Alexander Hamilton, who today is featured on the $10 bill, started on the 2, and Abraham Lincoln, who now is on the 5, started on this 10. Unlike the $2 bill, the 10 actually had a version that predates these, albeit by a year. In 1861, a $10 note known as a demand note was issued. It was not legal tender, but was only redeemable in coin on demand, thus the name. The next major issuance of these bills came in 1869. As you can see, Thomas Jefferson made his first appearance on the 2 here, while the 10 settled for little-known Daniel Webster, an American lawyer, congressman, and Secretary of State. While this 2 is nicknamed a rainbow note because of its color shading, the 10 is named a jackass note. Yes, a jackass note. That's because the eagle featured on the bottom of the bill looked more like a donkey when turned upside down. National banknotes were the next major issuance, circa 1875. National banknotes were issued by national banks chartered by the U.S. government, and usually backed by bonds. These were issued in everything from a $1 to a $1,000 denomination. The 10 is known for its depiction of Benjamin Franklin flying a kite into stormy skies, and explorer Hernando de Soto discovering the Mississippi River on the back. But this too is one of the more popular bills in collecting circles, known as the Lazy Deuce because of the 2 being on its side. Several other 10s were issued in the next 15 years. Many, like the 1882 Brownback, Valueback, and Dateback, had the same fronts as the 1875 note, but were named the way they were because of their different backs. You also got a silver certificate in 1878. All the while, $2 notes were taking a little snooze, if you will. It took until 1886 before the 2 came out with a silver certificate of its own, this bill made famous by its hidden 2 on the back. There were other silver certificate $2 bills. This one is from the educational series of 1896. These were only made in $1, $2, and $5 denominations, so there was no $10 note of this type. Here's a $2 silver certificate from 1899 with George Washington, and a Treasury coin note from 1890. The 10 also had an 1886 silver certificate, Treasury coin note of 1890, legal tender note of 1901, and gold certificates in 1907. This note could be looked at as one that paved the way for the currency design that would become a staple for most of the 1900s. After Federal Reserve banknotes were issued in 1918, the size of currency was reduced to the size we have today. The 10 took off, with national banknotes, silver and gold certificates, and Federal Reserve notes between 1929 and 1950. The 2 had its red seal bill in 1928, and then with limited use and interest for a quarter century, didn't see another run until 1953, and then again not until 1963 before it was discontinued. Of interest is how the $2 bill remained a United States note for this period, while the 10 was a Federal Reserve note. What's the difference?
The key difference is that United States notes are created by the Treasury Department without costing the taxpayers a penny. You compare that with a Federal Reserve note. The Federal Reserve note is not issued by the Treasury. It's issued by the Federal Reserve, the nation's central bank, which is a privately owned and directed bank for the most part. And when the federal government needs money, there is a cost to the federal government now.
It took until the 2's reissue in 1976 before it became a Federal Reserve note, giving it the green seal like the $10 bill had. And then the 2 bills had a similar design until 1999, when the 10 was reconfigured to add new security features. The 2 was not touched, and hasn't been, because the government isn't worried about that denomination being counterfeited, so the bill has kept the same design ever since. How about how the bills are used? Of course, $10 bills today are a standard of cash spending, and have even joined the 20 as something you can get out of an ATM machine. The 2? The bill is often hoarded, hardly spent, and sometimes not even accepted at an ATM. That's because most people presume the $2 bill is rare. And now the interesting fact about the 2 and the 10 promised at the beginning of this video. Everyone thinks the $2 bill is rare, but as of 2020 there were over 1.2 billion of them in circulation. Everyone thinks there are an abundance of 10s in the world, but there are only 2.3 billion in circulation. That sounds like a lot, but it's less than twice the amount of 2s. That means that for every $2 bill you see out there, there are less than 2 10s to match. By comparison, there are over 13 billion $1 bills and 16 billion hundreds. Put simply, there just aren't a lot of 10s out there. The next time you're flipping through your cash to get $10 bills, consider its long history, unique designs, and relative scarcity. Maybe it's time to start hoarding them the same way you do your 2s. To see how the $2 bill lines up with the 50, check out this video, and be sure to subscribe for more great $2 bill content. Thanks for watching.